Hey YouTube friends, I want to talk to you a little bit today about Project Diablo 2. What is it and why should you play it? It's so fun. Let's check it out. Project Diablo 2 is a mod of Diablo 2 Lord of Destruction. In order to play it, you need to own Diablo 2 Lord of Destruction. Now, for Project Diablo 2, there's updates every ladder. There's a new season, and there's resets for these updates every 4 months. Basically, every season they want to let you know that there's going to be changes, and it should be a lot of fun to engage with the new season. Increased build diversity. So now there's skills on characters that have changed. For example, Necromancer, you can have multiple golems. They synergize off of each other. Power Strike on an Amazon there with a polearm now has a Nova that is spawned after you attack an enemy. The Sorceress has multiple projectiles on the Ice Barrage. The Paladin has the Holy Nova, which can heal your allies and damage the enemies, which is really cool. There's kind of an emphasis on the ability to have strong support characters in this mod. So far in Season 1, there have been new builds that have emerged as the best builds, and the meta has changed for sure from the base Diablo 2 Lord of Destruction. A good example of that is the Mind Blast Assassin. It's really good right now, a lot of fun to play, and the skills have been tweaked a lot for the assassin in general. Going down to massive item rebalances. So there's a lot more items that are usable when you're leveling and you pick up a unique. You're gonna probably want to use it. In base Diablo 2, there's been some weird mods on some of the lower level items, and it's a lot of fun to engage with content that existed but has been changed in such a way that makes you actually want to use it and equip it. So that's a lot of fun. In the end game, there's just a lot of balances to the existing systems. For example, in base Diablo 2, there's this concept of rune words, where you find runes on the ground, and if you found the right ones, you put them in your weapons sockets in a certain order, or your armor sockets in a certain order, and it makes a really powerful item. Those have been nerfed a bit so that rune words aren't the only route to having a godly build, but they're certainly still strong. Moving down to new end game content. All right, so this is the juice. Like, this is juicy stuff right here. If you played Diablo 2 in the past, you might remember getting to the end game and doing bail runs after bail runs, bloody foothill runs, cow runs. Depending on the patch, it was one thing. You do that over and over again. But bail runs is the big one, right? You get your experience, the best experience there. You get good drops, and you just enter the same game after same game of bail runs over and over again. So the thing is, you can still do bail runs, but you also can do the end game map system now. And what that is, it's very similar to the Path of Exile map system, where you find these drops on the ground that are maps as you level up, and in the end game content you find them. You can modify them with currency that will allow you to have different attributes on them, make them more difficult, in some cases easier, with magic find and gold find, and it changes up the map every time. There's only 3 maps you can find right now, but based on the modifiers, they can be different every time you go into the map. So it definitely spices up the end game a little bit and makes it a lot of fun. The community in Project Diablo 2 is kind of awesome. I don't really play a lot of mods for games, but the Discord is very active, and I think what makes the community so good is the creator of the mod and the creators of the mod. Senpai Something is the name of the person who leads the developers of this mod, and they communicate often in the announcements channel, and they're good sports, and they work really hard to make the experience good for the players. They post updates, fix servers, even shipping new features mid-season for season 1, quality of life features, which is kind of crazy with such a small team. At least I imagine they do this for free and just get donations. So very impressed with the community so far. All right, Quality of life changes. There's one thing in this section that has made playing this mod worth it for me, and it made me stick with it. And I think that's the item filter. In Path of Exile and other action RPGs, modern action RPGs, I think Path of Exile is one of the big ones for this specifically, but you drop so many items in the game, you kill a ton of monsters, there's items all over the place, and realistically, endgame, you don't want to see them all. You only want to filter it down to the ones that you care about, and honestly, this game is so hard to know which items are the best items. So when someone else makes this loot filter for you and says, hey, I've made it so that all the best items are visible to you and it's easier to see which items are valuable, that's a game changer, right? Because you just want to go through, play your character, play your build, your skills, and find cool stuff. And it makes it a lot easier to do that. The quality of life around the loot filter is pretty massive. Another one of these quality of life changes is the transfer keybinds. It seems like it's a small thing, but if you've played Diablo or games before that had inventory Tetris like this, manually moving these items to slots in that inventory that fit and make sense, rather than just being able to click it and have it auto move, is kind of a pain in the ass. So this quality of life feature is amazing, not only with your stash, but with vendors, with putting potions in your belt, dropping things on the ground automatically. It's a combination of shift left click, shift right click, control left click, and right click. Everything is just kind of automated there. It feels like more of a modern game and not ancient in this regard, and that's great. In the last section they have here, and much more, there's a really fun feature that was added in this mod to the game, and that is corrupting items. If you've played Path of Exile, you know what this means. You're slamming items trying to get different mods or some GG items out of it, and you can do the same exact thing in Diablo now, and it's so much fun. Just make sure you don't corrupt your best in slot piece of gear, because there's a good chance the item will turn into an item that is no longer useful. So with that said, what is corrupting items? You put this world stone shard that you can find anywhere in the world as loot into your Herodric cube with any item you find, and you hit transmute, and you just hope that your item doesn't get turned into another item that is complete trash and junk and not good for your character. You're wanting mod. You can get mods on your items that are really good. You can get multiple mods. You can get sockets. Those are all very useful things that can come out of a corruption. But what you really don't want are items that are bricked, which just means aren't usable anymore. This adds a whole new gambling layer on top of the items in the end game, besides just finding what drops from monsters. Definitely a lot of fun. Really like this feature. A couple other notable things would be when you make a cow level, if you're a Diablo 2 player to start with, usually if you kill the Cow King, it means that you no longer can do cow levels again. Like, you can't make the portal to get into it. Senpai something has made it such that you can make them over and over again, and that's not a restriction anymore. Those are the kind of quality of life changes all over this mod that make the whole quality of the game, it feels like just yet another expansion from Blizzard. Overall, a quality of life upgrades across the board, skill changes so that you can find new and interesting builds, end game content so you can engage with more things when you do get a character that has beat normal, nightmare, and hell. So super impressed with that for sure. Okay, Shocky, you told me this is amazing, it's great, these updates are cool, all the features are awesome, you went through the website content, now how do I play Project Diablo 2? Okay, first of all, you need to own Diablo 2 and Diablo 2 Lord of Destruction. I think you can get both for about $20 from Blizzard on the Blizzard website. Once you have purchased those, you can download them in the blizzard.com/download page. Find Diablo 2, find Lord of Destruction, download them both, and install them both. Then Go to the Project Diablo 2 website. Register an account on the website. There's two of you. There's a username for your account, and then there's a PD2 account name. The PD2 account name you're going to use to log in to the BattleNet, in air quotes. It's really just the online servers for the mod, but you're going to use this account name to log in once you have the client. So go ahead, register, click download, launch the client, and launch the client for PD2 after your Lord of Destruction is installed. Last thing I want to note is that there's a couple things that make the game more usable and enjoyable, and that would be settings for running in windowed mode, checking your settings in-game, hitting some check boxes for item filters, and always showing items, things like that. Just sift through the settings. It's definitely worth doing. The team worked really hard, seemingly, on settings to improve the quality of life and user experience. So for sure, check out the settings both in the client and then once you're in the game. There's a settings button in the very bottom left. Just check it out. It's going to be worthwhile. And then go and find all the loots. Since I've been talking about all of these quality of life changes, I just wanted to give you an example of that real quick. Here's the larger inventory first off. And an example of skills that have changed. Combustion here is a new skill. Meteor has changed so that it lands on the ground much faster. There's a lesser Hydra now that shoots fire bolts, and a normal Hydra. Enchants. You can enchant both with cold and fire. So those are just some examples of new skills and tweaks to skills. And then let's see if we can item to drop here. Yep, CTP. I'm not holding Alt or anything. It's just showing. Like I mentioned, there's settings. A lot of cool settings here to just help in general. But yeah, I wanted to pop this video in here so that you guys could see firsthand what it looks like. And with that, thank you for checking out the video. Just for context, I was a Diablo 2 player a long time ago. I just recently got back into this mod. Really, the quality of life changes just made it such a breeze to enjoy the game. I know I've jumped into it kind of maybe a while ago trying to get back into it, and those things can be deal breakers. There's a lot of things and reasons not to play the original game right now, but I think this mod does a good job of iterating and adding the quality of life items. So I appreciate you watching this video. Thank you very much for stopping by. If you want to check out my streams at twitch.tv/kshockey, I'll be streaming Project Diablo 2 a little bit, and maybe some other games. I'm going to try to do a little bit more of a deep dive on some of the other systems like loot filters and maybe some builds and leveling guides, just so that everybody, if they choose to learn more about Project Diablo 2, that there's some content there, because I know right now on YouTube there's just not a ton of stuff here. Hopefully that kind of gets better, and I want to encourage people to check it out because I'm having a ton of fun with it. So once again, if you want to check me out at Twitter, Infinidude, or twitch.tv, kshockey, I'm happy to hang out with you. So cheers. Thanks, friends. Bye.